Hi everybody, welcome back to Call of Duty, welcome back to Warzone. This is PlayStation 4 gameplay, and this is going to be a walkthrough commentary on my latest Warzone solo victory. Now this one was actually my first game back after Infinity Ward and Activision reintroduced normal solos. So not the solos where everybody kept respawning in and dropping in because everybody had loads of money and there was no gulag. This is traditional solos as far as Warzone goes. But first off, before we dive into the gameplay, I just wanted to kind of show you the weapon I've been running a lot recently and the setup on that weapon and the perks I use. So it's the Grau 556. And what I do with my Grau is I put the tactical suppressor on it, because that gives you sound suppression, keeps you off the minimap, but it doesn't reduce your mobility in the way that the monolithic suppressor does. Now, the monolithic suppressor gives you better range and sound suppression, so it makes the gun more effective at range, but it does reduce that mobility a little bit, and that's why I go with the tactical suppressor. I use the 4x flip hybrid optic, and so what I do is as I'm running around I have it so it's just a hollow. Then if I need to zoom in a bit to kind of scout around, to look around or take on targets at range, I'll flip it to the 4x, and with that 4x you don't get any optical glint either, so it's safe to look around and you're not giving your position away. I use the Commando foregrip for recoil stabilization and aiming stability. I kind of swap between the Commando foregrip and the Merc foregrip, but at the moment it's just the Commando, seems to be doing okay. 50 round mag. I think the extended mags in Warzone are pretty much de rigueur. You need to have them because even in solos people have got 3 levels of armor, so the time to kill is longer than multiplayer, so you need to be able to just hammer them with so many bullets to take them down. And also then if you're missing a load, so you're tracking a moving target, you've still got a chance to knock them or take them down before you run out of bullets. And finally I put on the XRK Void 2 hollow grip to improve my aim down sight speed and improve my sprint to fire speed, because obviously running the 50 round mag and running the flip hybrid, that reduces your aim down sight speed, so that that rear grip sort of pushes that back up again. Plus if I'm sprinting along and I run into somebody, I can shoot them. I've still got some work to do on this setup. I still want to try some few things out, probably change to a different stock, maybe change to a different rear grip, maybe even put the monolithic suppressor on or change the barrel. But I'm pretty happy with the Grau. It seems to be almost as good as the MP7 up close, but better than the MP7 at medium to long range. So it's a more versatile weapon, because the secondary I run is the RPG-7. Now, I know lots of people kind of poo-poo the RPG players, because you know it's an area effect weapon. If in effect, when you've got it, I think, can you carry up to 6 warheads? It gives you the ability, if someone goes behind cover, you can just spam them with RPG to the left and the right of the cover or above the cover, and they'll get hit by the explosion, and if not knocked and killed, they'll take significant damage. You can take. The important thing about the RPG is that it helps you to be able to take on vehicles, because it's very dangerous in Warzone, and you'll see in this game, because I get a couple of vehicle kills. The first vehicle kill I get is it's a defensive vehicle kill, so a guy is driving towards me. If I did not have the RPG, or maybe the pillar, you know, a rocket launcher, so I could destroy that vehicle as it's coming straight towards me, I would have been dead, because it doesn't matter what gun I've got, especially on console, which it's very difficult to kill somebody fast enough through the windscreen or through the vehicle, or blow the vehicle up with a gun. You need that rocket launcher to be able to take them out, and it's incredibly effective that way. So I love running with the RPG. It means that I sacrifice long range ability, in order to snipe people with the sniper, but again, you'll see with my strat, it's really about avoiding long range gunfights, avoiding medium range gunfights, avoiding gunfights in general, to get into that final 10 and to get into that final circle. And then as far as perks go, we go with cold-blooded, because that means that people can't see us with thermal sights We go with Ghost because that keeps us off the mini-map in case of UAVs and especially heartbeat sensors. And then we go with Amped so that we can switch to our rocket launcher really quickly, and we can reload the rocket launcher really quickly. And then I use the Molotov. The reason why I use the Molotov is, again, in solos a lot of the time somebody may well go behind a rock or go behind a cover, and with the Molotov you can throw it to one side of that cover and then the fire will spread, forcing that person to move out of cover, and you can start blatting them, or you can you can rush them because they're taking damage and try and take them down that way. Whereas with something like a frag grenade or a Semtex or even a C4, you need to be a little bit more accurate. And of course the heartbeat sensor, you need the heartbeat sensor, I think, in Warzone. Right, so that's that. Let's dive into the gameplay and you can see my strategies and tactics. Okay, here we go. Gosh, I love Warzone. Truly could be eclipsing PUBG. It's my favourite game ever. So, if we have a look at the map when it pops up in just a second, I'm going to use my old, jump away from the flight path, almost as far as you can get, so that you can loot in safety. This is a critical bit. So as you can see, we've got a kind of north-east to sort of west flight path. So I'm having a look round, looking for maybe a recon flag or a scavenger flag to take on straight away. This is something that Toad Guide likes to do, sort of a little tip I picked up from here. That way, if you use a scavenger, you can follow the boxes and get some good loot. Or in this case, I go for a recon, which means that you can find out where the next circles are going to be. Now the map on Warzone Verdansk, it's a lot smaller than you think it is. And there's 150 players dropping into it. However, there's enough density of buildings and loot that you can use this strategy where you can jump far, preferably away from somewhere that's named, and initially not have to worry about getting in gunfights straight away. With Blackout, you would always end up with gunfights, don't you? And this is one of the reasons why I really love Warzone, because you can have this own little adventure where even if you're gonna die, when you get into your first gunfight, you've had this exciting thing where you're running around getting your weapons and generally enjoying the mechanics of Call of Duty and finding out what's going on. Now my priorities are always to get a half decent weapon to start off with, get some armor, get armored up, and then try and get as much cash as possible in order to be able to buy a self-revive kit and a gas mask. And then normally, and a lot of this depends on the circle, pick up a loadout drop for free, so then I can get my custom class, the one I talked about at the beginning, so I get the Grau. Now, as I'm trying to get to the recon contract, as I'm approaching this building, you might have just heard that there was some glass breaking, so I know there's a guy in this building. So I crouch down so I can walk quietly, and lo and behold, he pops out, and I managed to do him with the Uzi, which is great, which gives me some more ammo, gives me more armor, so I can armor up. And then here's my little recon contract. Now, when you're playing squads, if you get more of you on the recon device, it will finish faster. And as I say, what this does is, you'll see in a second, it gives you another circle. It tells you where the next circle is going to be. So that's really useful because it means you can then plan accordingly. And one of my favourite strategies, depending on where the circle goes, is once you're fully looted up, so you've got your class, you've got your custom class, you've got your ammo, you've got your self-revive, you've got your gas mask, then you just play the centre and you camp in the centre. Now, I've decided at this point I've got too far to go on foot, and the way that the other circle is up in the right hand corner of the map, I decided to get a vehicle. Now the quad is probably the worst vehicle you could choose. The best vehicle is the truck, but the quad and the open Jeep and the Land Rover is probably a little bit better. The reason is that these are one-shot kills to RPGs, so you've got to be very careful. Now, as I'm driving in, I spot there's a cash station, and I've got enough cash to grab my self-revive and my gas mask, so Very, very important. So I grab those. You've just noticed as well as a contract has just been taken out on me, so I'm now being tracked. So it's jump on the quad. Let's try and get out of here as soon as I can. There's a red vehicle coming in on the minimap if you look in the top left of the screen, and this is the guy who's actually got the contract on me, because you'll see my threat warning indicator goes straight up to dangerous, and he tries to kill me. Now at this point I could have tried to swap seats and then fire an RPG at him. I could have done if I didn't think fast enough. Also, what I'd encourage everybody to do is, if you're playing for the win, try and always play the odds. You know, the most important thing you can try and do is to get into the top 10. Right, not get lots of kills, get into the top 10 and then see what happens. Now, as I'm driving into the circle, here comes my loadout drop that I need to be able to get, especially Ghost. You want your Ghost perk, so you don't appear on the minimap. Now, 2 boxes have dropped. That means there's one for me and one for someone else. So you've got to be very careful at this point. Now, I took some fire, but I think that was just random fire from someone else. So as I'm coming in, I have a look round. There's various vehicles driving around, so I'm ready to pop them with my RPG. But I think, sod it, let's go for it. I need my Grau, I need my Ghost, I need my Cold-Blooded. Let's grab that and let's go. Again, there's vehicles driving around, but we'll leave them to fight another day. So now, where do I go next? So I want to get towards the edge of the map, and then I notice... This is quite a good jump, isn't it? What I notice is where I'm going to go is somewhere in a previous game where I stopped in the first building and then got trapped because I couldn't climb up out above the cliff. So you see in a second, so I'm on the airfield now, I'm just ducking and diving, trying to wiggle as much as I can, so if anybody fires an RPG I've got a chance of avoiding it. I'm looking at the minimap, seeing where the circle's going, thinking right, okay, so now I've got an idea of where I want to go. It's these buildings kind of just ahead of me, but then I remember, no, where, if I go there, if the circle moves east of me, I'm going to be trapped. See that big cliff behind it? So I think, right, I'm not going to go there. I go left and I go up the hill. And then I think, right, I probably want to be round about here. What I'll do is I'll ditch the quad, because if people see vehicles out of place on the map, they then go, okay, there could be someone here. So the idea is to drive the quad over the edge. Unfortunately, I go over the edge as well. And then what happens now is a vehicle comes up on me, and I've just changed this to slow-mo because I just enjoy this so much. Ah, that's nice. So we get the RPG that gives us even more loot, even more money, so we're kind of all set. And I look at the map again, and I think, no, I want to move further east, so towards the edge of the map. So I'm moving that way, and then I hear someone flying in. This is probably the guy who I just blew up in the RPG, in the vehicle, so he's come back to get it. So we finish him, and then there's this house, and I'm dead centre of the circle now. So it's like, let's check it with the heartbeat sensor. It appears to be closed, doors are shut, and this is the perfect place where I want to be. This is the perfect situation where you've played the edge, you've got kitted up, you've got everything you need. Let's just camp in the middle. I've got views all around me. I've got my heartbeat sensor. I'm on Ghost, and we can really just hold this for as long as we... And I stay here probably for 10-15 minutes. Now, here comes a vehicle. So we blow the vehicle up, we knock the guy out, but we don't kill him, so we've got to go in and finish him off with a few strikes to the head. Yeah, I've got loads of money now. I think, do I get an airstrike off this guy? I think I do. And then he flies back in. Because that warning, enemy coming into the area, is so useful. So make sure you've got your headphones on so you can hear that. Now he lands on the top of the building. He's looking for revenge. So I've come downstairs to hide. And again, my friends are my ears, where I'm just listening out. The 3D audio I think in Warzone is a bit pants. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's my headphones, but you can tell where people are in a one-dimensional plane, but it's not always obvious whether they're up above you. So I know he's up above me now because I've used the heartbeat sensor, and I can hear him loading up a weapon. And I know he'll be itching to get outside to pick up his kit. Or if it's not him, he'll have seen that kit outside and he'll want to get outside. There we go, he takes the bait. Thank you very much. I just run around to pick up some more ammo, and then I'm back inside. So, we're still in the circle. We're still fairly safe. So again, I'm just holding my position. Being outside and moving around is dangerous. Now, this is a good example where I see a guy over there, and I spot him, you know, you can press up on the D-pad to spot people, but I'm not going to challenge him. I'm not going to try and kill him. You know, my Grau isn't brilliant at that sort of range. The best I'm going to do is knock his armour off before he gets behind cover. Now we've got another hostile coming to the area, so another person is parachuting down. Again, this is one of the few buildings left in the circle. Well, the circle's just moved slightly, so people are going to be attracted towards this. They may well even see the loot on the ground, and I can hear him running around downstairs. Comes up the stairs. We take him out. I'm quite lucky there, actually. He got rid of all of my armour. I'm not quite sure what he hit me with. But again, I've got enough armour. I'm ready to go now. I've got my loot. I've got my ammo. I've got my gas mask. I've got my self-revive should I need it. I've got my ghost so I don't appear on the minimap. I'm cold-blooded so people can't see me on scopes, thermal scopes. So now, the circle's moved, but I'm very aware that people might be behind me. So before I move out of my house, I'm just checking east first. See, there's a supply drop there, just seeing if there's any more ammo available. I can hear gunfire off to my south, so I'm just tucking myself down in here. I don't need to get in the safe zone yet. At this point, the gas moves pretty slowly, and there's plenty of opportunity for me to be safe, but also for people to be moving in with the gas to come up and shoot me from behind. So I'm keeping an eye on that right up to the last minute. Right, now we're into the last few minutes of the game. We're going to see all the gameplay now. So all I'm doing now is I'm just pushing in, just making sure there's nobody coming in with the gas mask on or coughing and spluttering, so we can take them out. So now what I'm doing is I'm just checking that just for a second or two. People would be dead by now if they were still in the gas. That's a great thing about Warzone, they can't play the gas. Putting a marker down in the centre of the circle so I can orientate myself when I'm going back into the circle, so I don't going up the wrong direction. And at this point, what you should always be doing, I've got cover behind me, so people aren't probably going to come running from the centre of the circle out, but people come round the edges, they flank, they spiral around. So it's very important to look to your left and right. Obviously look into the circle. Now somebody's put a mine I think down there or something, but you see how I'm looking left and right, because that's where people are. You know, they're not, if they're looking into the middle of the circle, you don't have to worry about them. You know, obviously you're worried about people looking back towards you. Now I'm use my heartbeat sensor here, and you'll see I pick up someone, and you might even see them before I see them. But I'm moving from tree to tree, cover to cover, staying right on the edge of that gas. I don't want anybody to be able to loop around behind me. Right, so we've got someone on the heartbeat sensor, sort of 20 meters away. Right, so I know they're right in front of me now. There we go, so we can take them out again. The beauty of the heartbeat sensor, that's why you should be running Ghost, and you're at a severe disadvantage if you're not. Now at this stage of the game, with only a few players left, chances are everybody is going to have Ghost on. Circle's moved, I've got a little way to go. Putting a marker in the centre of the circle so I know which way I should be running. Again, I'm checking the flanks, I'm checking left and right. Really good players, and you'll see this all the time when you watch Shroud and Jack Frags and the Doc and all people like that. They loop around, they spiral around looking for enemies to kill. Now, I see that guy, so I fire in my airstrike. I should have probably aimed it straight at the box rather than doing it where I did. It didn't end up killing someone, but it probably caused a little bit of a distraction. So again, we're looking left and right. Gas is starting to come in. Again, I'm just surfing that gas, following it in really, really slowly. Now, what you're going to see in a minute is you're going to see the new circle mechanic, in the fact that the final circle doesn't just shrink and disappear. It actually moves to a new location, forcing players to move rather than be pushed together. This is a fascinating addition to Battle Royale, a really cool difference. Right, so there's some gunfire, so I think we're down to, yeah, it's only me versus one other guy now, and I'm right on the edge of the circle, so I'm very, very, very pleased with this situation now, and everything now is about, now there's the new, look, top left hand corner, the new circle is actually in a different place, so the circle, the safe zone, is going to move like the moon eclipsing the sun. It's just going to slowly move. Now I know where I am. The guy has to come to me, so I just tuck him behind this tree and I'm listening, and then he comes across. The video glitched out a little bit there, and then I kill him to get the Warzone victory. You know, a nice one with quite a few kills. But you can see in that video is that there's very few, there's probably only one where the guy came up the stairs. Very few encounters where I'm in a 50-50 gunfight situation. I'm I'm always trying to get into a situation where I'm ambushing the other person. I'm shooting them in the side or in the back so that you can guarantee that win. I'm always thinking about just getting into that top 10. And in this case, we played the edge to loot safely. Once we were all looted up, we played the centre. We camped like mad. And then we played the edge, surfing the gas in order to get that final circle and get that final Warzone victory. Anyway, that's enough from me. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe if you want to see more of the same. And I will see you again soon.